Guess who is back? Yes, this is Russell Mays, and it's Air America coming from my home studios. KUNV is still having debates on how their new formatting will come along. That's okay. I put my 2 cents in, and we're having a good time. Having a good time? Are you guys serious? Are you really ready for this? Having a good time. I am just flabbergasted that oh Lord, I tell you. Let's go. Let's see. Da, 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 da. We're just doing a bunch of invites here. Let's go right on down the line here and see who we can pick up. Bum ba da bum 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 bum. Da, 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 da. All right. We just invited a whole bunch of people to come listen to the rantings and ravings of me, Russell Mays. It's a Sunday. It's 3 o'clock. Good afternoon. I hope everybody is having a grand old time. What do I have to deal with today? One of the main things that I want to really want to talk about today is why are people complaining about Dancing with the Stars? Are you serious? Dancing with the Stars. Come on, people. Sean Spicer has given his time, if you will. He was chosen to be on Dancing with the Stars. I do not know if this man is a good dancer or a bad dancer or any type of dancer. All I know is he has brought more attention to that show than they have had in a ton of time. Absolutely ton of time. It's just unbelievable. Personally, I never knew who the MC person was, the commentator. Tom is his name. Never heard his name, but there you go. So he's got a show on. Now he's doing Dancing with the Stars. Everyone hears about it, but nobody watches it. I bet you he, as in Sean Spicer, will increase the ratings of that show double of what they've had in a long time. Think about it. The left and the Hollywood elites, the specials of Hollywood, and the way it works, presumably the way it works, is the ones that are on Dancing with the Stars are the ones that hit it and now are losing their importance within Hollywood. So they go on Dancing with the Stars to make themselves feel relevant. And they get a partner and they learn how to dance and they take a contest and and away they go. Well, I think what is happening and the reason why the ratings are falling is because they're constantly playing to their own base. And that's the Dancing with the Stars. So they get on there and they're dancing away, la 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 la, grand old time. And they don't get anybody to watch it because everybody that's on there is just watching it, you know. So now Sean Spicer gets on there and now hell breaks loose. Oh my God, how can you have him on there? Now you're making it political. Why is it political? They're making it political. He was the press secretary for Trump, the first one that came through. And he was okay, you know. I mean, personally, I think he's going to suck as a dancer, to be honest with you. I might not even watch it, even with him being on there. But because he's there, and because of the ratings that he's going to bring there, he is going to bring more promotion to the show than they've had in a long time, just because they hate Trump. Simple as that. They hate Trump, and anybody that's associated with Trump, they hate them too. So, because of that, they're going to give them all this free press. They're going to increase the ratings of the show, and they shoot themselves in the foot despite their face. It's unbelievable what the press and the left do. They hate this man so much because of their hatred. They give him all the press in the world. I mean, there's the polling people that do the polling actually have stated that CNN, MSNBC, I don't know why they call them the mainstream media, is because that's the only thing people know about. That's the left. They're the ones that gave Trump all this publicity because they brought in the ratings. And he is a ratings machine. They can't get away from it. He is just a ratings machine. And they used it, and they're the ones that got him elected because they gave him all this free press. Come on, let's face it. I mean, how interesting is watching Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden or Cory Booker or Kamala Harris or any of them, you know? It's just like, oh my God, it's paint drying. It's the drumbeat of I hate Trump. We got to beat Trump. I hate Trump. We got to beat Trump. And the more they beat that drum, the more they're going to make Trump president again. And I think that's fantastic. Knock it out of the park, people. Keep on putting Trump at the beginning of everything. It's, I love it. I really do love it. I think it's just the fantastic thing in the world. And this man really knows what he's doing. He really, honest to God, is 3 to 4 steps ahead of the media, half the political game players out there. I mean, I saw an interview. It was done by Lindsey Graham, 2016. And he was stating that how Trump would never be president, that he was a joke. Now Lindsey Graham is one of the biggest backers of Trump. And right there tells you a lot. Either he is so wishy-washy and politician, or he is smart enough to know that Trump is actually getting things done. Simple as that. I mean, this one senator that's going to run against him in the primaries. Are you kidding me? I can't even remember his name. I should have Googled it before I got on, but Google gets a lot of things wrong anyway, so no big deal. So anyway, Trump is just blowing them out of the water. So now let's take it another step. Let's go into China. This is something that is absolutely amazes me. How much the Chinese have got their tentacles into everything and how fast they've actually put their tentacles into everything. They know that they can't produce the quality of products that we have, but they can mass produce tons of free stuff, and by that controlling the trade market. Trump knows this. And I give you a good example of how the sheer volume of products can overtake an industry or a game plan. World War II, the biggest problem they had at the beginning of the war was the blockade to England. The German submarines were incredibly devastating to any convoys that were going through there. The American people stepped up. As a matter of fact, it was Kaiser. You know, if you anybody in California around that has Kaiser Permanente, the insurance people, those are the people that built the Liberty ships. Those were the cargo ships that hauled the cargo, troops, men, goods, food, weapons, you name it, across the ocean over to England to help them out in other parts of the war. They produced so many of those Liberty ships that the so-called wolf packs of the German forces, submarine forces, could not destroy them all, because the submarines that they were in at the time held, 6 torpedoes total. So if you had 6 in a wolf pack, 6 times 6 is 36. So they only could sink 36 ships. If they hit them, if they missed, they would be down one. Kaiser and the U.S. government and the military produced so many ships. They were making, I guess, the numbers, you can look this up, the numbers were in the hundreds per day. So these ships were rolling off the line. There was actually a contest where Kaiser did one ship in 3 days, from dry dock to actually floating it to service. 3 days. That's how fast they were cranking him out. So we literally buried the oceans in a line of supply ships, of Liberty ships, and then the other ships along for the escorts and everything else. And when the Germans sank one, they knew they were there. They didn't have time to sink any others. So that's how we got a hold of that, until we found out how to efficiently fight them, and then, you know, started winning the oceans again. But sheer volume of men and materials is what won that war. Simple as that. I mean, we were way behind the game, and we got into it, and it was just sheer volume of equipment, men, and everything. And that's what the Chinese are doing with the economy of the world. The sheer volume of products that they're saturating the world with, making people rely on them. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is right after the war, I believe it was, who was the general that said, I'll return, I'll come back and return, and whatever. After they defeated Japan, he wanted to go in and defeat China. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. There are friends and family, blah, blah, blah. They helped the Doolittle raid, get the airmen back after the Doolittle raid. So we didn't go in and take in on China, which we should have, because in 1949, the China's Trade Institution developed in a partially modern, somewhat inefficient system, and it had to drive the modernization of the economy. And that began, are you ready for this, folks? 1978. That's when the Chinese and China started accelerating and figuring out the economy, or the commodity flows, and the efficiency of what needed to be done. They stole everything from everybody, implemented it into their system. Let's take Henry Ford. Henry Ford even said it. He says, I know nothing about automobiles, but I know a lot of people that do. So he hired a lot of people in how to build. What he did do was make the assembly line, and he flooded the market with automobiles, driving the price down so everybody could drive one. That's what China's trying to do. Trump steps in because Bush, Clinton, and Obama were emboldening China to do this even more. Oh my God, China or Biden's son uh, took $1 billion in investments into China. Unbelievable. So everybody was investing into China. Even when Nixon, Kissinger went over there and opened up China to everybody, to the world, this is when it all started. And the Chinese are not stupid, okay? They're not. But what Trump is doing is making them pay for it now. And that's what the problem is. We, here in the United States, have been, for the last 30 some odd years, a service-orientated country. We have been subservient to the world. We weren't producing anything. We weren't making anything. We weren't selling anything. All we did was buy the goods and services from all the other countries around the world. That's the reason why the world was doing so well, is because we were financing the world. They were sucking us dry. Trump knew this. Trump saw this. And he saw it way back when. And when they asked him about running for president 20 years ago, I guess it was, or something like that, he says, when America needs me, that's when I'll run. He knew the proper timing. He knew if he didn't get into the game in 2016, this country would have been lost. Look what Obama, Clinton, and Bush did. All of them. They kowtowed to the world. They bent to all the factors. Trump stands up and says, no way. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play your game. And China is having a kitten because they know he's right and he is hurting them badly. Now, Trump says, well, companies here should go and find companies in the United States to produce the products. You remember Sears and GE and all the automobiles, Chevy and Ford and Dodge, and all of them were made here in Detroit. Huge now all those people are gone to other countries. Trump's trying to bring them back. They're all coming back. And that's what it's all about. We've got to make it here in the United States to make us world. I mean, come on, let's face it. If the United States fails, if we go socialist, the world will collapse. That right there is where George Soros is trying to do, because George Soros is trying to collapse the economy of the United States, because once that happens, then they can bring in this proverbial New World Order and have $1, one exchange rate. And I don't want to get off into the weeds on that, but if you think about it, if there is one currency worldwide that everybody buys and trades with, whether it be Bitcoin or the cryptocurrencies or a debit card and cash, digital numbers going back and forth. If there is one currency out there, the world will collapse. And the reason is because there's no competitive market anymore. If you have $1 here and you want to produce something here and sell it over there, why do you want to sell it over there? Nobody's buying and selling their products anymore. That's why we have fluctuating markets. That's why we sell and buy. That's why the capitalist center, Wall Street, the center of world trade, capitalism all the way. That's where it's all generated from. I mean, let's face it, even the communist countries play the markets. That's where the money is, because if you're willing to produce, now, first off, talk about getting into the weeds. You got Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and Bezos for Amazon and all these people are screaming and hollering how much money they make, and that's not fair. They've got all that money. They shouldn't have that money. Blah, 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 blah. And lefties want it all, but these people are the ones that are sponsoring the lefties because they know they can manipulate the lefties to get whatever they want to and do their own rules and regulations. But the thing is I do not hold it against them for making that money. They found the way the system works. They utilized the capitalist system. They made a ton of money, and they should keep their money. But once they start interfering with the private lives of the American people, that's when it becomes problematic. Because you can make all the money you want to in the world, but if you start messing with people's lives, digging into their personal identity and then manipulating, logarithms to get you to vote for Hillary or Joe Biden or whoever is for an election, that right there, you should go to jail for and lose everything. But if you're out there and you're making a profit, making a good product, and you're hiring people to work for you and giving them a job or whatever it may be, and doing something good for the people in the countries you're working for, rock and roll. But the moment you start manipulating it, that's when they broke up AT&T for monopolizing. That's what they did with the railroads and the oil barons back when. They had to break it all up. I mean, my God, it was the Union Pacific, I think it was the first railroad they had to bust up, and also was Esso. Esso, is they broke in, that's when it went to Exxon and BP and all these different derivatives, because they broke it up because they were controlling everything. And they shouldn't be controlling everything. So anyway, that's what the Chinese are doing. So now China says they're going to increase their market to more tariffs, higher tariffs on more products, another $500 billion worth of products. Trump turns around and says, fine, we'll do the same thing. We'll just do it. Now he's trying to talk about people not being able to purchase their products. Well, a lot of people are screaming about this because he is also influencing businesses. Now, good point is, why don't we buy products from Iran? Right, there's a good example. Iran has a fetish for trying to destroy America. They have a fetish for trying to destroy Israel. So we don't buy their products. We still bought their oil. Isn't that amazing? And we still have American companies in Iran doing development and stuff. Saudi Arabia, Yemen, those countries, if they want to do business with them, they better be very careful about doing it. So, if people are screaming about controlling what you buy from China to sell here in the United States is a problem for you, then why is China blocking Google? They also block, you can't do, I think, Facebook or Skype. You can't do Skype in China. You can't do Facebook in China because they block them. You can't do Amazon in China unless it's all controlled by the government and different products. Certain things you can and cannot buy there. So they're doing exactly what President Trump is suggesting to do. And he's making them stand up and take, heed of what's going on. China better relax their tariffs. If they want to sell their products here in the United States, that's fine. You make it the proverbial Fair Trade Act. Okay? Fair trade means fair trade. If you want 25% tariffs, you got 25% tariffs. If you want 10% tariffs, 10% tariffs. Fair trade on all playing fields, if that's the game they want to play. But then we bring in our darling politicians, both the House and the Senate. Whoop-de-doo, these people are losers. I've never seen anything like this in my life. We're still waiting on them to do the North American, U.S. Make Hay, or the United States, Mexico, Canada trade, where everybody is fair about their trade and what they can and cannot do. They agreed to that. And they're still fighting that. But yet they'll pass a law abandoning straws in California because it's bad for the environment. Ooh. Climate change. Oh, I'm a climate change denier. Big time. I want you to prove it to me. So anyway, I love what Trump is doing with China. I love what Trump is doing with the rest of the world and the countries too. And the reason is he's making them step up to the plate and say, hey, if this is what you said you're going to do, then damn it, do it. Stop letting us foot your bill. My God, back to World War II, even World War I. The European market, they owe us all this money. And we just, oh, that's okay, don't pay us. That's okay, don't pay us. And yet, Japan wants us to pay them for, bombing them. So after they killed all our soldiers, that's what gets me. The world owes the United States a lot of money, and they're not paying for it. But yet we still send our troops over to protect them under the United Nations. And yet none of them, Germany is finally stepping up to the plate and doing their 1.5% or 10% or whatever they have to of their GDP to pay for the support of all the other nations and stuff. Come on, let's get to it, man. Let's do it. So anyway, it gets really, really unbelievable how much our youth nowadays do not understand the economy of the United States. They don't understand capitalism, exactly what it is. They don't understand the three very important words ever written: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I hate to be very, very crass on that. None of it says you have the right to a job. None of it says you have a right to health care. None of it says you have a right to food. None of it says you have the right to a house or a car or even a family. You have a right to your life. You have a right to the liberty of that life. And you have a right to take that life and pursue happiness as you see fit. So if you're happy living on the streets of LA, pooping in the streets on your fellow Americans, I guess that's your right. But then again, do you have a right to break the laws of the cities that you're pooping in? Nobody wants to stand up for that. Think about this, folks, while you're thinking about California and San Francisco and all the people pooping and peeing in the streets with their needles and everything else. If you have a home or a business, any type of property ownership whatsoever, the right of that property also comes with what they call the right-of-way. And the right-of-way extends about 20 to 30 feet on either side of any city, business, road, throughway, whatever it may be, for the use of the commerce of the city, town, township, state road, just so people can get and back and to and fro from their properties. You see these big pieces of property you see on sale all the time. Buy 40 acres out in the middle of nowhere, get a great deal, and that's very legit. But if you buy certain pieces of property, you have to give the person that buys the piece behind you a right-of-way through your land. It's probably on one side or another, or how it is. Even though you own that road, that is a right-of-way to get to, so other people can do their pursuit of happiness as they see fit. So the city and the states are required by law, statutes, provisions, or whatever you want to say, to give access to those sidewalks and streets to the general public. Every city in the nation has this. The streets and the sidewalks have to be accessible for the general public. And if somebody is blocking that for no real reason, then they don't have the right to be there. They can be pushed off to somewhere else. They can have their streets cleaned, and they can do that. They do not have the right to camp on those streets. They don't do that. And I can't understand why nobody has ever brought this up. Not one news commentator, newspaper, anybody has ever brought that up. The cities have a right to move those people to another place they have set up. They can do it anytime they want to. They can take a lot somewhere off to the side belonging to the city and set up a tent city if they want to. But they have a right. If you have a city of 9 million people in LA and you have 500,000 people blocking those 9 million people the right of access to businesses and your liberty and your pursuit of happiness is being blocked by somebody on the street, then they have to act. But since they don't want to act, that means the money they are used to clean up the streets are going in their pockets. Simple as that. Think about that, people. Our founding fathers, straight up, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Then they gave us the amendments. Freedom of speech. Most powerful one, you have a right to say what you want without fear of reprisal of the government. But that's changing too. And you know how that's changing? Political correctness. That's exactly what it's doing. Political correctness is changing the freedom of speech. Now think about this, okay? Let's go into the political correctness thing. People are saying, oh, you can't say that word or that word because it's not politically correct. Well, are you not? Let's take the he, she, or Mr. and Mrs. Annotations for, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. That's offensive now. Why is that offensive? What do you want to be called? And there's a lot of abbreviations they want to use now, non-gender thing. But are you not just substituting one word for another? So if it's going to be Ms., let's just say, 20 years down the road, somebody's going to come out and say that's offensive. Ms. is offensive to me. Let's change it. It's a word that we use to describe or notate somebody that we respect. That's what the reasoning for Mr. and Mrs. is about. It is a sign of respect. Once you remove the signs of respect from our vocabulary, you start creating people of ignorance. Whether they have education or not, they still will be ignorant to what is going on in the society. They have become functionaries. PC correctness is the first step into destroying our society because it puts the mindset of we're not that good. Everybody should be the same. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm not like you. You're not like me. You don't think the same way that I do. We might have ideas that think alike, but there's no way that your life that you're living right now is going to suit my life. And the life that I'm living right now will be efficient for your life. And that's what they want to do. The left wants everybody to live the same, unless it's them. They will make it so you pay for their mansions. You pay for the way they live. It was touted that Bernie Sanders went to Russia for his honeymoon. And what he saw over there is what he's trying to do here. And what he saw into the other countries too, the socialist countries. What he saw was the people of the country supporting his way of life, or the upper class's way of life, without any effort. They stand on a throne of control, saying anything that you make, you give me 95% of it and you live on 5%, and that's the way it's going to be. If not, we're going to throw you in the gulag somewhere and lock the door and throw away the key. If that's the life you want, have at it. But our youth is being taught that. They're being taught that working for nothing is what it should be. Everyone says, well, what about Medicare? And what about Social Security? All that started out as a good idea until politicians, people had no skin in the game, took control of it. Look at Social Security, for instance. We all pay into Social Security. It is supposed to be there so when we retire, we draw upon that so we can live a nice, relaxed life. Now, they control it so when you retire, since they drained it all back in the 60s, I think it is, they moved the Social Security funds into the general funds and sucked that dry. Now, if you go on Social Security as a retirement, you can't work, because if you work, they're going to take some of your Social Security away. What's that got to do with it? It's your money. It's what you worked for. It's what you saved for. Hence, that brings up the whole thing about economy again. They don't teach this stuff in school. They don't teach how to manage money. The reason why we have income taxes and retirement plans, because people don't know how to control their money. When they get it, they spend it as fast as they come. Everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. Why do you want to live paycheck to paycheck? I'm not telling you you should or you shouldn't. This is the pursuit of happiness. This is your choice. You want to live a certain way, live it. But once you spend that money and you're broke, don't go crying to somebody else, to the government, and saying, "No, I'm broke, give it." Now, there are exceptions to all the rules. So when the email starts pounding me again, saying, "You can't say that, there's people that need help." Yes, there are. I believe that if you served in the military, you stepped up for your country, and there's certain things that you have a right to because you gave up your right or your life or part of your body. And it is a scale, to be honest with you. And they actually have that in the military. How much percentages are you disabled? This kind of thing, depending on how much you get. If you're healthy, that's perfectly fine. You did your time. You have a right to have some health care through the VA. You have a right to a burial. You have a right to a flag on your coffin. And you have a right to VA to help you with a home loan. That's good because that's what you did. You served the country. You made the choice. You did something for everybody, made this country great. But if you do absolutely nothing but live in your mommy and daddy's basement, and you feel like you're going to be walking around the streets playing a video game or a cell phone or whatever, and you think you have a right to income and a house and education, give me a break. Speaking of education, I think one of the best things that Trump ever did was all wounded veterans that have a student loan were forgiven. That is a noble thing. Did you see that in the press? If you didn't, that means you're watching the left. Because that right there proves that you did something, you took the bullet for your country and your countrymen, and they're paying you back, saying thank you for your service. But the left goes nuts over that. Oh, you can't do that. But yet they want to give free everything. If you want to give free education to everybody, do what that one guy did at that graduation. That was awesome what he did. He stood up there and gave the speech, and he says, "I'm paying everybody's debt here." And he paid off, like, I think it was 400 student loans of the graduating class. If they want to do that, knock it out of the park, baby. Go for it. I want to know something, though. I want to see somebody follow up just 1 year of all those students that had the student loan forgiven. 1 year. I want somebody to go back to those students to find out what they've done with that gift that man gave them. Did they really appreciate it? Or did their underwater basket weaving course give them the right to have a sheepskin on the wall and say, "Hey, blah, 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 blah. Here it is." So anyway, it's interesting how our forefathers saw what the rest of the world did and changed it in our Constitution. It's also the reason why they have the Second Amendment, is to protect the First Amendment. The Second Amendment is there for one simple reason, is to arm the citizens of the United States to protect them from an oppressive government. Simple as that. That's what it is. It's not about hunting. It's not about weapons of war. It's not about bullet rounds in a magazine. It's not about mass shootings. It's not about none of that. All those are branches of issues that people are crazy about. Mental politicians, mental shooters, idiots that don't know how to utilize a weapon. All that is a secondary thought. Simple as that. The Second Amendment is there for one main reason: a ready militia to defend this country against the state. No person shall deny or have the right to bear arms be infringed. Simple as that. Own and bear arms to be infringed. That's it. Very to the point. 2 sentences. That's it. Boom. And that's why it's so hard to contradict. And that's why it'll never be overturned. For the simple thing is, they knew what the British did when they did the Revolutionary War. Everyone said, hey, we won the war, but everybody forgets the War of 1812. I know I've mentioned this before. But 1812, the British came back. They tried to take us again because we were their breadbasket. We supplied their world with everything: food, wood, materials, metals, ores, you name it. We supplied everything for them. We did not build ships at the time. We just started building ships. We just started the manufacturing of products and stuff. We were still a very small, minute country that had this wealth of resources that were being exploited by the rest of the world. And I didn't want to get into the slavery thing, but people don't realize the British are the ones that traded in the slaves. They're the ones that went out and got them. They're the ones that brought them over here. They're the ones that do that. Go to them for their extra money. We freed the slaves. Our people, whether black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever it may be, fall under the Constitution of those 3 little words: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Boom. That's it. That's all there is to it. So, yeah, I know. I'm getting long into the tooth here, so as usual. Yeah, let's go down here. There's something else I wanted to yak about. Start wrapping this up with a little tidbit about the media, whom they never learn. The media is just unbelievable. If you go back through and see all the BS that was spewed all over the airwaves in 2016 during the election, 2015 also during the election, when Trump said he's running for president, the floodgates opened. Oh my God, they couldn't get enough of the lies and the manipulation and the BS going on and the hatred and the reason why they hated him so much. All the polls said he couldn't win. It was 100-0, 100-0 that Hillary was going to win. There's no chance in hell. Hell freezing over had a better chance of happening than Trump winning. Trump knocked out all the candidates. And the reason why he did that is because he was honest. Whether he said things in ways people couldn't understand, you know what that man is thinking almost all the time. The man does not stop tweeting. You know what he's thinking all the time. You never knew that about Bush or Clinton or Obama. You never knew anything unless they did a press conference. Do you notice that the press is mad because they don't have the press conferences anymore? Well, why would you want to have that kind of grief? All they did was attack, 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 lie, 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 twist the words around. He said, fine, you don't need it, fine. Yeah, I love the man. I love the man. He gets right there in their faces and says, you're an idiot. You lie. You're a bad person. Tells them straight. No other president in the world has ever done that to the media. They don't know what to do. They are crazy and livid. It was like you're on the playground as a child and somebody comes up to you and calls you fat. Ooh, you're a fatty. Oh, and you can't get over it. You just want to beat them to death because they called you fat. And you can't get over it. Or you're bald, or you're tall, or you're skinny. All the little nitpicking noses. You've got pimples. You've got glasses. You got anything they do, that's what it's like. There are a bunch of little kids that can't take the criticism. He is showing them exactly what they are. And they're doing the same thing now. They didn't learn. Are you kidding me? They are showing these polls where every politician, every Democrat candidate, every one of them, I guess there's 18, 19 left? Every one of them beats Trump in the election on a poll. Are you kidding me? Trump has a solid base of 43% of this country. He has another, 10% that lean Trump's way, but is always a shuffle. And there's another 10% that just won't make up their mind about anything. Trump has the majority of this country already, and he knows that any one of these socialist Democrats that are running for office as a candidate in the 2020 elections knows for a fact that they can't compete with this man. The man is incredible. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He still has a good time. His staff even complain that they can't keep up with him. He's up at 4 or 5 in the morning, right off the bat, whether he watches the news or he's doing something, he's going in about his business, and that's why he's ahead of the game. Bush, Obama, and Clinton, they rolled out of bed at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. They had their little breakfast and they got around to it. By the time breakfast came around, Trump had signed 2 bills and he's already had a trade war with China. It's unbelievable. And the media doesn't get it. They, honest to God, I was listening, I hate to say this, I have to turn to CNN once in a while just to see what they're saying. And they, honest to God, look down their nose at the American people. They really believe the American people are stupid. They really believe that anybody that would even vote for Trump is stupid. The Hollywood elites believe this. Where do they get their information from? Where do they have to go in lockstep or they get eaten alive by their own. That's what's going on with the Democratic Party right now. You notice how this Israel thing with Ilmar Omar and Tishi Tarib, or however you pronounce her name, pretty much dwindled in the media, and all of a sudden now you have OAC back in the media again talking. Those 4 women control the Democratic Party. They thought, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and the rest of them, well, we'll let these 4 little ladies spew their gibberish out there and we'll take it and run with it. They didn't expect the left being so far offset would follow them so succinctly, or loyalty, if you will, because they are driving the Democratic Party right now. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, however you see it, that's what they're doing. They're driving the party, and they don't know what to do about it. 50 years, Pelosi, Chucky Baby, Nadler, what's her, Elizabeth, not Warren. Warren's been in there for a while too. The real wacky Bernstein, the one that trashed Kavanaugh all the time and that leaked all those documents. They've all been in office for decades and never had anybody get in their face either. These four are getting in all their faces, even though they're stupid about their comments and what they're doing. But they're being backed by people that are driving them, such as Soros, giving them functions and what to say and what to do. And because of that, they're going to be set up in life. I'll guarantee you AOC will not make the next, well, I can't say that. I'm not a predictor. So if she does not make the vote for the 2000 to continue her spot as a congresswoman, did I say woman? Oh my God, chastise me. I called her a woman. Congress B. Anyway, she will come out and she will be set for life for what she did for 2 years. Mark my words on that. She will be supported. She will be on The View. She will be a news anchor somewhere. She will do some kind of a show. You name it. She'll be there. She'll be, all of them will. All of them will have their positions. So it's pretty amazing out there, folks. Oh, goodness gracious. Got quite a few people joining us today. I can't believe I rattled off at the onset of things for another hour, but I do enjoy my hours with you. Soon after the negotiations over at KUNV are done, my show will probably be reactive after they get the format taken care of. But that's okay. Everybody over there is a good people. There are just a lot of college students that need to be learned. All I can say is keep smiling out there. Be strong. I'm for Trump. If you want to be for the other folks, that's your God's given right. More power to you. But please, whatever you do, read the facts. Whatever happens, they always talked about question authority. You better question the media. And I don't care if it's Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, because even Fox News is getting a little bit of twerkiness on there with Donna Brazile and Paul Ryan, part of that staff, who both of them want to trash Fox News, and they allowed them in the door. So the wolf is in the hen house there. So be careful on what they say too. Watch what they're saying, see how they're saying it, get the information, do the research yourself, make your own opinion, and God forbid if you don't vote to talk to me. That's the last real true right we have for our government, is the power of the vote. And if they take the Electoral College away, which they won't, they'll try again. The power of the people's vote is in your hands. And if you allow it to happen, where California and New York is the only places that will control the government, and I don't mean New York State, I mean New York City, the liberal cesspool that in California, and some of the, well, you got Oregon and Washington too. So, but anyway, I spoke enough. My name is Russell Mays. I do enjoy you folks so much for joining me. I do like your responses. You can always email me at russell@radiorussell.net or check my website out at radiowrestle.net. My podcast is coming together on that also. It'll be coming to you soon so you can listen and see all my shows. But take care. Have fun. Thank you very, very much for being with me. You take care now. Bye-bye.